I'm going to do a brief little demo just to explain some stuff in Glyphs that I didn't really get a chance to explain. I'm going to do that by doing a quick little development of a font that kind of looks like, not really, but kind of looks like Chicago. Not the city per se, but not the city. Not, right on, but it's got that sort of look. Uh, so let's hop into it. New. It should pop up with something like this. Um, it may give you some other things that you have to do. Just choose basic Latin if it gives you a window of what language or script you want to develop in. So this is this. This is all these little cubbies. I often like starting with the lowercase a because I really enjoy that letter. So to open that up, you just double click on whatever sort of letter you want to go into, and then there's a section up here that will show you all the tabs of letters you have open. Let's go to A, and from here you can select the pen tool up here and just start, drawing away. And I can make a really not so great looking, because I'm not thinking about it so much, but certainly funky looking A. To view it, I'm just hitting spacebar. But for now, let's delete that. We're going to open up the information window. We can name it. You can do this later. I'm just going to do it now. Let's call this hello class. Masters, exports, we'll get into it. Features aren't so important. Go into the other section. And here, because we're making something that's pretty rigid and gridded, I'm going to do grid spacing of 100 to get it going. And then now we've got this grid here, and you can see anything I draw on it is going to be bound to these lines. And that's perfect to just sort of start. And we can go in here and we can draw ourselves an A. But I'm doing this and I'm thinking this is kind of cumbersome, annoying that there's all these extra points that are, overlapping. Instead, what we can do, we can just pop down one square, gonna right click, component from selection, and we'll call it a pixel. And then I'm going to try to build it the same way, and I'm having sort of an issue as I can't drag it upward. Just going to want to select them, click when they're green like this. It's automatically aligning. So you go to right click, disable automatic alignment, and that lets me move them around again. And so now we've got our same A, and you're thinking, okay, that's the same thing that we just made. What's the difference? I can change all of the points at once. And so if I decide later that I want to modify this pixel form in any way, and I can do it to all of them at once. Now we could just go start working our way through the alphabet. So we're doing the same thing, right click, add component, pixel, disable automatic alignment. This is on the sides of the letter, so this is your spacing, your side bearings. Right now it's, again, going to be bound by the grid. Like if we change our grid spacing to 1, again, I could set it to 17. But for now, we're going to keep our grid spacing at 100. That process is fine of just going through the A through Z. What you'll find... Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this. We could keep just moving through this sort of alphabet going just top to bottom, and that's certainly fine, but another way we could do this is think about how shapes relate to one another. So this A, I feel like if we kind of were to take it, oh, let me drag this into view, give it a rotate, that's an E, you know? And right now it seems kind of silly because the shapes are, I feel like, pretty similar. But if they were more complex, it's nice to sort of pull from the same sort of shapes. So A, can rotate it, now it's an E. But, I think first let's get to, I feel like the pixel grid is looking a little too minimal. So I have an idea. Taking these components and I'm going to decompose that. And that will break it back down into the square that's editable. And then we've got this little triangle. And I can then bring this triangle here, down here. And I've got, I feel like, a much softer looking A. To select this, I'm just double clicking either inside the shape or just outside. I'm going to select this, double click. And instead of just copying and pasting that every time, I can also make a component from a selection. Let's call it corner. I can bring this in and I can rotate this. Now, this thing is editable again. Here, bring this into the B, and we've got a nice looking B. Maybe I want it a little softer still. I can go in here, I can draw it as a curve. That's looking pretty good. You know what? And now I think we can drop our grid spacing to 50. Just to make this curve really a bit nicer to look at. The other thing we can adjust now is the spacing. I feel like the 100 on one side and the 50 or the 0 on the other is kind of weird. Let's just do 50 on both. I would like to add this A component and I can decompose it. And there we go. The problem is that these pixels, so if we go back to the pixel, are now going to go in the sort of opposite direction if we modify. What you can do to adjust that is you can just go adjust this to 0. So now if we modify that pixel again, it's going to do it the right way. Cool. E, if we take this, we can decompose this. We've got a C. I think let's do that, yeah. D, yeah, let's throw in a B. Decompose it. We want to rebuild it in the right way so that the shapes stay right here. Just throw down there. And see, then the beauty of this is I can still update this. Oh, here's a good example. Something that's going on. This shape, see when I hit space, it overlaps in this weird way. That is due to shape direction. See how right here there's this little arrow that's pointing this way? And then on the pixel there's an arrow that's pointing counterclockwise. And this one's going clockwise. What you can do is hit Command-Shift-R or go up to this. It's going to be path. In another program, it might be called contours, reverse contours, or correct path direction. And we can do it again here. And then see now this path is going counterclockwise, and this path is also going counterclockwise. And then also look at that, it's fixed these little render lines that are coming out. Now from this we might need to adjust a few things, move some stuff back around, make sure our curves are lining up where we want them to. Pretty good. Let's spell out Chicago. And then this is a process that I like to sort of go by, is just sometimes I just start spelling words and then going into developing that. So we can develop an H next. And again, we could just go in, add component, pixel, go from here and just build out a whole, zoomed out, H. Or these feel pretty similar. We grab a B, decompose it, just extend these down. Got ourselves an H. From that, we can also get two other components. Here we've got the shoulder, we've got a full stem, which is also going to be if we select all these, component from selection, let's call it a full stem. So now we've got our L. Alright, I've just pasted back the stuff that we had pulled away, make a component from selection, call it the shoulder. Within these windows, you can also adjust the spacing. So this has 150 points on the left side. It's not lining up very well, but you can, I think it's going to be like negative, let's call it negative 50. That's too wide still. We can go down negative 100. Perfect. From the H, we can make an N, because it's just essentially an H with the top cut off. Go through, decompose that, decompose the full stem, and then we've got this, N. Looks good. From that we can also pull this little element, component from selection. This is half stem. Make sure the spacing's all right. Chicagoan. I, we know that we have this part of the eye, the stem. So we could do half. And the tittle, do you guys know that it's called that? A tittle? Anyway, there we go. We got an eye. Let's flesh out this O. We know now we're trying to find similar shapes, so this C feels like, one block away from an O. So let's go in, add component C, lowercase c, decompose it, add the block. There we got our O. The G, I don't know. Let's look at some similar. I feel like that's kind of where we want to go, So let's do this. We can rotate this thing. We know this is going to be up here. Just start, moving points around. Looking good. There we go, Chicago. I do want to keep some integrity of the directional alignment of it, so I'll just show you that it's all the same here, and I'm trying to preserve that to some degree, just so I can do stuff like this. And let's just say that I've, finished all of this. What we can do next, file, save as. Oh, look, I've already got a folder. Let's call this demo. Hello class demo version 0.1. Cool. So it's saved. Then I want to go to make sure all of my font information is correct. So in here, right, I'd say for our sake, I'd do a version 0.1. Obviously, this is still unfinished, but let's just, for the sake of this, pretend it's finished. Perfect. And then I can go File, Export. You're going to keep it at this. We're making OTFs, open type font, and this is a true type font. We're going to keep it as an OTF. Hello class demo. Let's do a folder of just the exports. New folder version 0.1. And export. Anyway. So I've saved this. And let's say this is, again, pretending this is a completed sort of typeface. The beauty of this is it's all still modular. And so if I am looking at this again and I'm like, okay, I want to change this corner component. I want to make like a new style, let's say. I can take this, boom, quickly, fleshed out a new look to this. Before, after. 2 seconds, totally new energy. I'll go File, Save As, version 0.1. I don't know, maybe this is a new style, or maybe this is just like iterating off of it. Let's do, we could do version 0.2. Let's call it a Tuscan _ version 0.1. Go in, change the font class demo Tuscan. Export. Next. Boom. Let's go to, what was this? Hello class demo. Here's the folder. We've got our two styles. We can click those, open with font book. You should all have, I don't know what it is for PC, but it should be something similar. Yeah, it's up. There it is. Simple enough. I hope that made some sense. And I hope, if not, I don't know. Hit me up. Hello. I should write out by class.